up, friends? So, the most requested thing that you guys have asked with the Lightning Arrow Artillery Ballista starter is to see some gameplay footage. Now, today I'm going to talk to you about a couple of things. Over at my Twitch stream, you guys have been helping me work on the build. I have a lot of friends, shout outs to them, that have been eyeing the build, looking at the POB, and working on things. I have a POB that I'm going to be sharing with you today. I'm going to be going over all of my choices, all of the gear, how to make the swap to Deadeye, because I know a lot of you guys are going to be playing the build and starting as Ranger and want to go over to Deadeye. Now, the build is functioning very well. It's doing things that I didn't realize it would do. And I'm just going to kind of walk you through the new gear choices. You see there's a High-Raise Iron, Ascendant's Mark, and yes, I understand that immediately somebody's got their hand in the air and says, this is getting expensive really quick. The POB has gear choices. You do not need this gear right away. I have options in the POB that'll walk you through everything you need, and we'll get there in a second. Before I show you guys gameplay, there's something I want to point out. In the POB, you'll notice that in the brand new tree, we have a Master Fletcher, and we have a Multi-Shot. These are currently in the state of the game not replicable, so I can't recreate them. The solution that we came up with in Twitch chat was to buy a fractured bow. We got a fractured bow with +2 arrows. We threw essences at it until we were able to get a good tier of elemental damage. If this scares you, don't let it. I will have a section in the notes on ways to make this bow. It will not be hard. You will just buy a fractured bow with damage and then hit it with essences. As far as the suffixes go, the bow on League launch will not have 2 arrows on it, as the 2 arrows are on the Atlas tree now. So if you're looking at this bow and you're freaking out, just know that the arrows are on the Atlas tree, and we took the arrows off the Atlas tree and put them on the bow for testing. As far as the suffixes go, you can multi-mod your suffixes for like 2 divines and they're done. So the bow itself will be very, 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 very easy to obtain. Do not panic looking at this bow. This bow is only for testing, and 1000 DPS elemental bow is relatively reasonable and doable with buying fractured bases, and we'll talk about that in a minute. So we have right here, we have a basic tier 16 Crimson Temple map. Oh, that says I can't leash on it. It's probably gonna be really bad. Ooh, oh, that's reflect. That's no regen. Oh my god, bro, I'm trying to record. Okay, anyways, I'm currently eye level 85. My tree is starting to come together. We are a girl with a bow, Deadeye, and I'll talk to you about everything that's going on, and I'll walk you through everything. These nodes are actually supposed to be taken out as well. I just didn't do it yet. But this is the basics of the conversion. We are not tornado shot yet. I'm doing a 4-link lightning arrow because I didn't have all the gear put together. I have a hydrosphere set up. We've got the artillery ballista set up, and I just want to kind of give you an idea of what your mapping is going to look like. Now, one of the other biggest things that came up today in Twitch chat was defenses. And I'm like, yeah, sure, you're playing a Ranger. And they're like, what does that mean? And I was like, you know. And they go, oh, God. And I'm like, you know. And they say, so where are your defenses? I was like, well, your defenses are going to come from the fact that you're a Ranger. And you're just going to kill things immediately, right? So, like, there's your rare. He's dead. You just kind of, like, move on. So the clear itself is pretty good. It feels really good to play. We're level 85 right now. We're not even crit capped. Our gear is doo-doo in the rare slots. And our damage is feeling really good. Now, when we look at the actual Atlas tree and we talk about the tree, you're going to see there's going to be a large cluster. There's going to be a Lion's Eye Jewel. There's going to be a large bit of hope. And a lot of these are going to save up a lot of points. And they're going to increase their damage. And they're going to make things great. Now, our damage looks good right now. I know some of you guys are probably skeptical, but note this is on a 4-link lightning arrow. Yes, the bow is above average. The bow is not unobtainable. We can get you guys the bow, and I can teach you guys how to get the bow, so do not worry about that. If I were to put this on a 6-link, which I'm planning on doing for the stream tomorrow, which you guys can catch over on Twitch or catch the VOD on Twitch, you guys will see what it'll look like on a 6-link. But I wanted to replicate just how it's going to look if you were to spend your currency on some of the earlier upgrades and just force a bow, regardless that it was 6-link or not. Okay, this Mana Siphoner guy just needs to, like, take a hike. Now, gear progression-wise, I'll go over the gear progression in a second. Map bosses are still a little sketchy because we're on a 4-link, so don't expect on a 4-link to be able to blow up map bosses. Rares are dying, and it's just it's playing so damn well, like so well, and it's been very enjoyable. The Assonance tech was pretty sweet. Our map bosses could definitely die better. It's not the best speed in terms of like other builds, but it will get the job done and it'll do what it needs to do. Now, in terms of the Atlas tree and what's going on, let's take a look and talk about it. We've made the swap. We are no longer Raider. We are going Deadeye. For our Deadeye Ascendancy, we're going to take Ricochet. So our skills are going to chain one time. So Lightning Arrow is going to bounce all over the place and it's going to be great. Projectiles are also going to have a 30% chance to chain when colliding with terrain. Now, on a map that you just saw, being Crimson Temple, the layout's smaller, the lightning arrows are going to bounce off the wall, hit the mobs, and go nuts. And it's going to be really, really, really powerful. We're going to take +2 additional projectiles. So on our Atlas tree, we're going to get +2, which we've replicated with the bow. We get 1 here, 2 here. That's 4, 5 with the bow or being the lightning arrow. And then depending on if you're using LMP or GMP, 6, 7, 8, 9, whatever. We're also going to be taking Gathering Winds so that we have Tailwind all the time. Now, I know there's somebody who's going to be going, well, Focal Point is the most amazing DPS thing, blah, 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 blah. Yes, I agree. Focal Point is fantastic. I recommend picking up a Forbidden Flame and Forbidden Flesh when currency is available and you are able to do it. I would say play around between Far Shot and Focal Point, see which one you like better. Focal Point is going to be more damage, so it's probably going to be better. But in the current iteration of the POB, I have 2 open jewel sockets for Forbidden Flame and Forbidden Flesh. Now, when you say to me, but I understand, they are very expensive. There will be one that is going to be more expensive than the other and one that's going to be cheaper. If you find an Endless Munitions that is super cheap, put in Endless Munitions and then go Focal Point. If Focal Point's super cheap, get Focal Point. If Far Shot's cheap, get Far Shot. Out of the ones that we're using and the ones that we're needing, pick the cheapest one, buy the cheapest one, slot it in, call it a good day. Now, you could see the tree. You could see how we changed a lot of things compared to the other tree if we just swap back. You can see the pathing is a little bit different. It's a bit more refined. When should I swap to the crit variant of Deadeye? When you feel comfortable, when you have some of the gear. Things that I would wait for to swap, I'd wait for some of the uniques. I'd wait to have the taming rings. I would wait to have the gloves. I'd wait to have the quiver. And I'd probably get a pretty decent bow. You don't need a pretty decent bow. You can get away with an 800 elemental DPS bow. Not a problem. Pretty simple. I would also wait for the Lion's Eye Jewel, the Lion's Eye Fall Jewel. Now, we're going to talk about the pathing and where it goes and what it does. We've changed our pathing, and we still get Heart of Oak. We're still getting Charisma. In the current testing, I still had to take Prowess and Thief's Craft. We're still getting Revenge of the Hunted. We're still getting our Force of Nature. And we're just coming down over here to this large Thread of Hope. Thread of Hope larges will probably start being available on day 2, maybe day 3, depending on how early people get to Sirius and start farming. Usually Sirius is killed on day 1 and the Threads of Hope start showing up. Now there's a really good chance this league that large Thread of Hopes are insanely expensive. And a good way to probably maybe get it is if you buy a small or a very large for cheaper. So for example, if one large is say 3 divines, but smalls are 20C, buy 3 smalls, sell them to the vendor and see if you get a large. So you can spend 60C and kind of gamble or however much it costs. Note, do the math on the buying and the selling, but you can vendor 3 Threads of Hope and hope to get the one that you want. Or you just wait a few days and larges will flood the market and large will be available. I don't personally plan on swapping to Deadeye until late day 2, day 3. My plan is to get the Blight and farm a bunch of currency. If I get lucky with the drops and I get to buy my gear early, I'll make the swap earlier, but we'll see what happens. Now, this large is going to save us a ton of points. You're going to notice we're able to take Aspect of the Eagle, so we save 1 point here. We're able to get Quick Step and 1 with Nature, so we save 3, 4, or 1, 2, 3. Then you'll see down here we can get Primal Force, so we save 3 points here. We are able to get Master Fletcher, we save points here. As we get better gear, and we can get our crit cap to 100% without these nodes, and we can take these nodes out as well. We also get access to multi-shot, and we get access to split shot. So if we're staying lightning arrow for a couple days and we have the large and we have made the swap to tornado shot. I know a lot of people are talking about the forking and the projectile and the bouncing and then this and that. We could take this. So there's a lot of really good things that we have access to thanks to this large. And this large saves us a ton of points. In the current iteration, we save 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Now, if the adrenaline changes stay in, you would take the adrenaline if you choose to play the adrenaline. I have the adrenaline not in this variant of the build because we don't know what GGG is going to do with the adrenaline, and I don't want to advise people on something that might be getting changed. You'll notice that we come up here to the Lion's Eye Jewel, and we do this so that we can get all the crit nodes here from the Claw Mastery and the Sword or the Dagger Mastery. We're going to take Culling Strike from Dagger, so we just have Culling Strike. We get a bunch of crit damage, crit multi here. We're going to get a bunch of damage and attack speed here. We're going to take the mana reservation up here, so we're going to get mana on kill, more mana and mana reservation. We're going to get an extra power charge, which we'll get to. We're going to take the dexterity nodes here so that we get a dexterity accuracy bonus that's +3 per dexterity rating. We're going to take the life mastery here for 15% increased max life, which we'll touch on shortly. We're still going to grab the same thing with Clever Thief. If you want to take the instant leash and play around with it, by all means play around with it. I did not click it here, but you have the option to play around with it. Down here, we're going to take some more precision nodes. These precision nodes become irrelevant once we swap our rings off the taming and we get precision on, or we get accuracy on gear and we fix our mana problems, which when we get to the gear section, we'll talk about. And then the rest of the pathing on the bottom of the tree is still the same. You'll notice that we take a large cluster. Our large cluster is going to be Feed the Fury, Martial Prowess, Fuel the Fight. This is going to give us damage while leeching, more sources of leeching, more attack speed while leeching, just damage overall. And we're going to be pairing it with 2 Basics of Pain Pressure Points clusters. The clusters will change as we min-max our gear more and we get more crit from other places. We upgrade our bow, we upgrade our gear, we do a bunch of other things and we get crit. And we can swap all of our clusters and stuff around. This variant of the build is not designed to be the min-max be-all end-all of gear. This is the I am playing Raider. I would like to convert to Deadeye. I am now Deadeye, and I'm in the transition of going from Lightning Arrow to Tornado Shot. Once you're full Tornado Shot, which this will be, then you can decide what kind of path you'd like to go up. Do I want to go up the Omniscience path? Do I want to go the MF path? Do I want to go the Fizz Convert to Cold path? Which way do I want to go? I personally do not know which way I'd like to go yet. I'm heavily leaning towards Magic Find, which I've made that comment a couple times. But until I really get into the league and start playing and start seeing how gear looks and what's going on, it's going to be, you know, a hit or miss. My profile will be public. All of my progression will be on Twitch. You can see everything that's going on. But the tree, I'm pretty confident with the tree, and it looks pretty good. And you'll be able to play around with it and see how you like. Now, I know looking down here, resistances aren't capped right now, and that's because we've been playing around with the gear. So going into the item section, you'll notice that we have our spine bow. The spine bow is very similar to the one that we did with testing. The only thing difference in between this one and the one with testing is you'll notice it's not fractured and it's a little less DPS. It's not fractured because, as I mentioned, the +2 arrows is on the tree, so we don't have to worry about that anymore. We're going to take a quiver that's going to give us an additional arrow. Note the additional arrow is more damage. You do not need a quiver like this. In my testing now, I was not able to put together a quiver. I was actually testing on stream this quiver setup and doing maps like this. You'll notice right away if I were to grab another random tier 16 map and then put an alk on it and then open it up, the damage of the character is heavily carried by the bow. So the better the bow that you have, the worse some of your other gear slots can be. So I highly recommend, and I'm going to say this a lot, that if you're going to spend a little bit extra and it wasn't to buy something like a headhunter, that didn't happen. No, did I hit the Legion? No, I think I hit the Legion prematurely. I wanted to show you a Legion. It's fine. But anyways, you can see right away that the damage is still there. And the damage will only get better with a better quiver. Like, we are still able to do everything we want. We're generating our power charges. Everything goes great. So, in testing, we did a very bad quiver. And in... Oh, that's the wrong POV. And in here, we have a pretty mediocre quiver. quiver. I know you're looking at this going mediocre. It's pretty mediocre. Our helmet slot, I have Assonance Mark. When I was testing today, I wanted to do a Hydrosphere, Power Charge, and Crit, Sniper's Mark, Tornado setup. Assonance Mark allows us to do this. You do not have to do this. This is a cheap, easy way to trigger Power Charges to give us more crit. You'll notice right away that we're at 100% crit chance. If I take off the Power Charges, we're at 84% crit chance. You do not need to be 100% crit. More damage. That's just how it works. And it's just more crit. You know, it's more everything. If you choose to not go down this route, in the helmet slot, I provided other options. We have a Pigface Bassinet that has pretty much nothing on it. And then we have a Pigface Bassinet, which is the Eldritch Implicits. I like the reduced mana cost of attacks and the increased mana reservation of skills. I think this is the best way to go with the helmet, and you can upgrade these accordingly as you get better Eldritch currency. Now, you could stay without the Assonance Mark stuff and without the Power Charge stuff, be at 84% and still do very, 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 very well. You do not need to do this. This is a tech that we talked about in the stream. I like this tech a lot. Assonance Mark might be expensive, so do not go... Don't be sad if you don't do it. You don't need to do it. It's just more damage. The character is going to still play very well and be very good. Our chestplate, very similar to the same thing. Originally, I had a full dragon scale armor with nice stats on it, spell suppression, life, resistances, the works. So you could do that, and I think that's very good. You can see right away we're resistance capped, we have good evasion, we have good damage for when we're starting, and I think the full dragon scale is really good. The reason why we have High Desire is High Desire does a couple things for us. High Desire gives us a huge amount of spell suppression really early. It gives us a huge amount of damage. You'll notice down here we have 5.4 million damage. If I take it off, we go to 4.2. So High Res is just going to give us a raw spike in damage that we wouldn't have without it. High Res gives us a ton of evasion. It has chill duration, which is, you know, cool, but it's just a stat stick until we can craft a really nice body armor. High Res, once again, just like Assonance, might be expensive. So if you don't have the High Res, you don't need it. You can just grab a nice piece of body armor with a little bit of life, a little bit of resistance, and call it a good day. The upside to taking High Res, is we mentioned this earlier in the tree, is you get a 15% increased max life if there's no life modifiers in your body armor. So High Res is going to give us a bonus 15% life. So I'll have more life than what you saw in the gameplay footage. Our gloves do not change. We're still Shadow and Dust. Our boots, we just get a nice pair of two-tone boots with resistances, life, strength, dex, whatever you need, and some movement speed. Our boots will also give us Onslaught. In testing on stream, I did not have Onslaught boots. I just used whatever. On stream, I still use High Res Truth Amulet. In this, I have a Negate Amulet. The projectile speed, projectile damage, crit multi will be better when you swap the Tornado Shot, as this will give us the projectile speed, which Tornado Shot really shines with. It'll give us a big boost of damage. If you do not have an amulet, High Res Truth is still great. High Res Truth is wonderful. The thing to note, which I forgot to mention in the last video with High Res Truth, is the level 30 precision skill uses a ton of mana. You do not need the level 30 precision skill. Level up your precision normally as needed and use that precision from like the skill gem. We're going to still stay with the Taming Rings. The Taming Rings are great. We have the Stygian Vice that just has stats on it. A recommendation that came up is to get Darkness Enthroned and 2 6-statted Abyssal Jewels. Something you guys can research and look into. Might be really, really, really solid. I will put the Darkness Enthroned on the build so you guys can see it. Headhunter, obviously, if you get there, Headhunter is the goal. I put in some basic flask for testing. Movement speed flask. Because we're crit based, we want all of our flasks to gain charges when we crit. That would be ideal. We get some attack speed, some crit strike chance, some movement speed, and enduring flask until we fix all of our mana issues and we get minus mana cost of rings. Now for the ring slot, I know we still have the tamings. Eventually you're going to want rings that have minus mana cost, life, resistance stats, accuracy, things like that. I think the taming is unbeatable in early stages until you can craft some really nice rings and kind of get going. I've left these two jewel sockets open. As I mentioned earlier, they're for Forbidden Flames and Forbidden Fleshes. Skill-wise, In testing, you saw I was still lightning arrow. I was making the swap over to tornado shot. I'm hoping on stream tomorrow to have the entire tornado shot and a bunch of 6 links set up. But lightning arrow is still really good, so you could still do lightning arrow and do the exact same thing and swap tornado shot out with lightning arrow. We use fork because we have chain in the ascendancy, so we fork and chain. We use GMP. If you want more damage, you put LMP, less projectiles though. GMP is going to be fine. Trinity, elemental damage with attack, and inspiration to lower our mana cost. Because we've taken out the ballista nodes, we're going to want to use a different ballista and not artillery ballista. So we're going to swap over to tornado shot ballista totem with focus ballista, multiple ballista, and we're just going to drop ballistas, fire a tornado shot, and everything's going to fire and everything's going to blow up. We're going to put our sniper's mark on hit. We don't need this anymore, so we're going to do this, and we're going to put sniper's mark here. And we're going to get rid of this sniper's mark on hit, so we just have a frost blink with a life tap. You don't need the life tap, you have frost blink. Our precision, you'll notice my precision is level 8. As you can see, I'm currently at hit chance at 100%. If I lower this, I go to 99. Depending on your gear, where your character is, you'll level your precision accordingly. Grace, purity of elements. If you want more damage and you manage to figure out your resistances, you can look at wrath or other damage auras. And lastly, in our helmet, we have the Hydrosphere Tornado Power Charge and Crit Sniper's Mark setup. This is just raw damage. This is just attack. You do not need to do this. I'm telling you, you don't need to do this. If you do not do this, you want Sniper's Mark on hit somewhere in your build. So that's that. As far as everything goes, the build is playing great. It has very little for defenses. It dodges and it spell suppresses. I know it's not the best, and I'm sorry, but it's a ranger build, and it's what I'm going to do, and I'm warning you from now. Hey, thanks for the offline follow. But that's just kind of like what it is. Do I like it? Yeah. Does it feel great? Yeah. I'm having a good time with it? Absolutely. Will I be upgrading it and taking it further? Absolutely. I provided notes. I've talked about the Deadeye swap, and I just want people to realize that the gear that's in the POB is not great gear. It's pretty bad, and it's purposely bad. You probably don't want to aim to mimic the gear one for one. You probably want to find better tiers of gear to suit your character. The gear is here as like an example of where to start and how to get going. Now, if you have questions about the build or you want to talk more about the build, there's a link to my Discord. You can come over to the Twitch. I'll be live all week playing it. I'll be live all weekend for League Start, and I'd be more than happy. Hey, thanks for the follow. I'd be more than happy to help you guys out and talk to you guys about it as we go. But for now, I'm going to get this guys out. I'm going to get this edited and out to you guys. And if you have questions, please don't hesitate to ask. I'm here, and I hope you guys have a wonderful, successful League Start like I do. But for now, guys, so long, farewell, Avita, saying good luck. See you guys in the next one.